move on to the question of narratives and so on.
Yes.
The fact checkers.
Yeah, maybe maybe Full Fact could help us out, actually. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wonder if they've actually had a look at this Kemi Badenoch thing. So, yes, we've spoke about them. I mean, I can't even count the amount of times that I've spoken about Full Fact, let alone UK column over the years. And I seem to remember saying the last time I did bring them up back in April that the first mention that I could find of Full Fact was in 2012, and that they'd only been established for about 3 months at that point. So they're old foes of ours or friends. I can never quite work it out. Anyway, they give us plenty to talk about. We spoke about this visit of Chris Morris, their new CEO, to the House of Lords back in April, talking about conspiracy theories in schools, and actually the fact that Full Fact and their proxies appear to be running Ofsted at the moment, which is quite extraordinary. And now they're actually being directly promoted by the BBC. We're going to play you a short clip of Martha Kearney, the Radio 4 presenter, describing how a young woman was almost tricked by conspiracy theorists who were trying to warn her against listening to the advice of her doctor. And I'm going to play you the second half of the clip.
That's when she was told about Full Fact. It's a fact-checking charity working to counter harmful misinformation. Its team of expert fact-checkers, which includes a doctor, analyses articles and claims published online, then offers a verdict on their truthfulness and credibility. Going on to the Full Fact website, Charlotte saw how widespread health misinformation and conspiracy theories are, and this led her to question the so-called advice she'd been offered on the forums. Now armed with the confidence she needed to make the right choices for her own health, Charlotte began to take the contraceptive pill she'd been prescribed. She says that after a few weeks, her symptoms did improve. There's so much false information online, and that's why the challenge for Full Fact is huge. Anything you can give will help Full Fact's expert team carry out more fact-checking work on big topics like health, education and climate change, so we can all be better informed and make better choices. To donate, just search online for BBC Radio 4 Appeal or call 0800 404 8144. That's 0800 404 8144. You can also write a cheque to Full Fact and send it to Free Post BBC Radio 4 Appeal. That's the whole address. Importantly, please mark the back of your envelope Full Fact. Thank you.
Sorry, was the BBC shilling for Full Fact there?
Yeah, they're actually fundraising for Full Fact, right? And, there used to be some suggestion that there was a separation of powers at play here, right? In this truth ecosystem that circulates around the BBC and Full Fact and the Trusted Media Initiative and Ofcom and all these different organisations. But they're directly funding what is supposedly an independent charity. And they're actually handling funds for them as well, physically handling funds, because she just said at the end there, you can send cheques to Radio 4 fundraiser, so that goes to the BBC, and then they will pass that on for them. And they're just a department at that point, aren't they?
Certainly, you would suggest that since the BBC is effectively the state media of this country,
yes,
that therefore the state is indirectly funding Full Fact or directly funding Full Fact, depending on your point of view. Yeah, very interesting.
Isn't it just? I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about that as we go along. I wonder how much they raise out of that, actually. I wonder what a BBC Radio 4 recommendation gets you these days from the great British public.
Well, it's rare that the BBC will answer a freedom of information request, but maybe that one might work, since it's not about editorial matters. Yeah.